Welcome to another edition of the Invisible Wheelchair Podcast. I'm Donald Grodoff, family coach with FamilyOCD.com and FocusedHealthyFamily.com. In the Invisible Wheelchair Podcast series, I delve into the hidden characteristics of OCD, anxiety, and anxiety disorders. The things that most people don't see, that are behind closed doors and shut within the mind about anxiety. My goal with these podcasts is to bring about awareness of obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD. Understand that I am not a doctor, therapist, or counselor, and the content, information, resources, and ideas that are talked about and brought up here in these podcasts are things that I have used, discovered, or have been recommended to me, and I always recommend to seek additional professional help in finding solutions for yourself. Thank you for listening and enjoy the podcast. This podcast was recorded September 7th, 2017. Today we have a special OCD Week podcast recording. It's called OCD The Test. And what I wanted to do in this podcast was to give you a test to be able to tell if you have OCD or if someone you know has OCD. Now, this is taken from the Yale-Brown Obsessive-Compulsive Scale test. And if you wish to really take this test and get a score on it, you can go to FamilyOCD.com. And on the right-hand column going down towards the bottom, you'll see, do I have OCD? Take the test. You just click there, go through the steps. It'll actually score you. I'm not going to be able to score you on this, but I'm going to have this tell you some ideas with each one as to what to look for. So here we go. Let's just get into the test. This is question number 1, and they've got in the test. You'll see they have, the first answer is none. Second one, so there's a series of about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different answers. It looks like for each one of these, from none to extreme kind of thing, and so. What you're going to want to look for is, are you answering it on the more extreme side or even the higher side of this, the higher numbered side of this? So, as you do this, you can even do it for yourself, putting numbers to these. The first one is 0, the second one has a rating of 1, the second one has 2, etc. So anyway, let's go to the first question. How much of your time is occupied by obsessive thoughts? Now, obsessive thoughts can be things like fear of contamination, fear that someone's going to get harmed by your actions, fear that you didn't turn the stove off, that you hit something or hit somebody in your car. So obsessive thoughts that just reel through your mind over and over, and they don't leave you alone. They just get worse and worse. So how much of your time is occupied by these thoughts? And you go from 1 hour to 8 hours is what this. So here's what, so if it's more than 2, then we're starting to look at, more than 2 hours, then you're looking at OCD. So next question. How much do your obsessive thoughts interfere with functioning in your social, work, or other roles, including school, home, things like that? And here's what what you need to do with this question is really probe in your mind and think about, how long do I obsess over this? And do I stop doing other normal things that most people can do easily? Does it take me longer? And do I miss things because of it? Do I not get to work on time so I'm late for work? Things like that. That's how it can interfere. And it's hard sometimes for people to really look at that, but are you a person that's always getting in trouble at work because you're late because you have to keep checking something? So those are things, and like I said, can be hard to really look at that for yourself. Now, if you're looking for somebody else, watch their patterns. See how stressed they get. You can see it in their face. Understand too that people with OCD don't always tell the truth about things. They tend to hide things, so you're going to have to watch their behaviors too. Next question, how much distress do your obsessive thoughts cause you? And here they talk about none, or mild, not too disturbing, moderate, where it's disturbing but still it's manageable. You're handling it. Severe, very disturbing, to extreme. Near constant and disabling are the options. So you really have to think about how much do these thoughts really disable you, to stop you from thinking, let alone doing something. How much do they affect your production at work? Do you get caught on something and repeatedly have to check a report to make sure that it is accurate and perfect? And this does have kind of a subset of perfectionism in it, but it's really not about perfectionism. It's about the anxiety. So got to think about that. So here's the next question. How much of an effort do you make to resist the obsessive thoughts? And here it goes through, always make an effort to resist, don't even need to resist. Try to resist most of the time, make some effort to resist, reluctantly yield to all obsessive thoughts, completely and willingly yield to all obsessions. So here's, resistance is the key to really, and that's what ERP therapy talks about, is being able to, in your mind, resist the thoughts and say, no, I'm not listening to you, OCD. And it is probably the toughest factor of it, because not only do you resist fighting those thoughts, you can resist doing the ERP. So there's two sides to resistance. The good side is resisting the obsessive thoughts. The bad side of it is resisting resisting to resist those thoughts, and resisting to do the ERP. So that's kind of the side that doesn't serve you, and the side that serves you is resisting those thoughts. And it's not an easy task, but what I will give you this much: after you've done it and start doing it, it gets easier, because but I will also mention that OCD will come back, and I think come back with the revenge. So you have to be really able to hold on to that resistance and not let go. The next question, how much control do you have over your obsessive thoughts? The first one is complete control, much control, usually able to stop or divert obsessions with some effort or concentration. Moderate control, sometimes able to stop or divert obsessions. Little control, rarely successful in stopping or dismissing. No control, rarely able to even momentarily alter obsessive thinking. And again, it's really hard for a person going through it now, but if you can see this in other people, that they can't stop these thoughts. They still want to do the behaviors because of thoughts. So what could be a trigger if you're looking at somebody else, like a child, and wondering if they are, look at their behaviors. And if they can't stop the behaviors, that means the thoughts are continuing and they're not fighting the thoughts. So, all right, next question, excuse me. How much time do you spend performing compulsive behaviors? And again, that was what I was just talking about. And we're looking at from 1 hour to 8 hours. And if you're going anywhere probably above 2 hours, then you're looking at it. And trust me, at first it may be, with my daughter, the hand washing started out, it was, I think, 20 minutes initially, 20 to 30 minutes, and ended up doing 2 to 4 hours of washing. So you may say, well, I'm only doing an hour. Hour is still a lot to wash hands. Hour is really a lot to do anything. But what you really got to know and understand is that it'll be an hour now, but as this progresses, if it left alone, before you know it, you're into 3 hours, and before you know it, you're into 4 hours. It gets progressively worse, so that needs to stop. And then How much do your compulsive behaviors interfere with functioning in your so it kind of goes back to that same question we did, how much is the thoughts, but it's even the behaviors even more than the thoughts, because people can still go to work with a lot of thoughts in their mind. But it's the behaviors that really physically stop your performance in things, physically stop you from doing a test, physically stop you from actually going to work or doing your job. Your productivity goes down, you know. Um, and I'm missing the final page to give you all the answers, but just understand it's really the same answers as they gave for that second one where we talked about the thoughts stopping your functioning, slight interference, definite interference, substantial interference, extreme interference. So, to me, if your answers on these went above like even that second choice or second option of answers, for instance, like the time occupied with the obsessive thoughts. The first answer is none, the second one's less than an hour per day. Those are fairly, just got to keep an eye on it that, if it's taking you 45 minutes to watch it, that's still pretty much time. Just watch it so that it's not increasing. But if you've answered 1 to 3 hours and above, then you're looking at OCD starting to creep in, depending on the severity. So any of those that where you're going with the third answer and above, more than likely that's got some OCD involved with it, and depending on the severity of it. So that's the test, and I wanted to put that out there because I've had a lot of people inquire, well, how do I know? And these are some of the ways that you can know if it is obsessive compulsive by answering these questions and seeing the severity of it is how you would really be able to tell. So again, if you wish to take that online, you can take it at familyocd.com. And when you get to the front page in the right column, just go down a little bit down there and you'll see take the test. Do I have OCD? Take the test. Click there and you can go right over to this Yale Brown site. And actually, I think it's psychology test. And you can find other tests there that for all different kinds of factors like ADHD, all of those. So it's not just an OCD test there, but I link you to the direct page on there. Again, this is just the beginning. This is just a maybe a confirmation for you that someone you know or yourself may have OCD, but yet you'll still want to look for a professional to really give you the best diagnosis. And you're really going to have to research. You can go to the IOCDF.org, the International OCD Foundation site, and find practitioners there. You can go to my familyocd.com site, and I do have some resources there. I've got some local people, but I know most of them do online from anywhere kind of thing. So definitely find somebody that knows and understands them, and you make sure to ask them, have you worked with OCD before? Do you know about, ask them if they know about pandas and pans, because that can be a trigger too, that they really don't know a lot about OCD. But again, with the pandas and pans, understand that I think therapists are just now starting to get more inclined to that or understand that. So don't necessarily discount them because of pandas and pans. But if they understand that probably gives you a note that they really kind of know what OCD is about. So you can ask them some questions. Don't feel bad. Don't go to somebody just because they're a therapist or they say they do OCD. Because most of the therapists I've seen on Psychology Today and other places list OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, in their list of what they treat. But that doesn't make them the one that really knows how to treat OCD. And it takes some special stuff. So again, I hope this test helped you and maybe put you on a path of discovery. Again, I'm available to help too. I know how to help people along and coach people along with ERP and some of the factors of what it takes to get that done. And in fact, have a twist on it that makes it faster with my EFT tapping work I do. So I would be happy to help you also, and there'll be information at the end about how to do that. So thank you. I hope this helped, and have a great day. That concludes this podcast. Please leave me a comment or question below. That gives me good direction where to go on future podcasts. I would love to hear your invisible wheelchair stories if you're willing to share it. If you would, go to invisiblewheelchair.com and click on Tell Your Story. I want to remind you that OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, is treatable, and I can help you get past OCD. So if you have heard this podcast and others, and you feel like you need further assistance and would like to spend some time with me working through any issues you have, then feel free to book a session at focusedhealthyfamily.com or familyocd.com, or you can call me at 704-562-1630. I also offer $85 off initial discovery session if you mention that you heard it on this podcast. I hope you have enjoyed this podcast and will join me for the next one. Remember to keep tapping, talking, and transcending your life to new heights. Thank you, and have a great day.